When you go shopping for groceries or to purchase clothes at a retail store, you'll usually see a price tag on the items. You'll know exactly how much you'll spend. But what about costs for health care? 1 year after new federal regulations were put in place requiring hospitals to disclose costs, many are still not sharing their pricing online. Well, here to set us straight on what is happening and why is Katy Talento. Ms. Talento is Executive Director of the Alliance for Health Care Sharing Ministries. So, Katy, please tell us why many hospitals are still not sharing their pricing information. I thought the Biden administration had demanded transparency.
Yes, both the Trump and the Biden administration have doubled down on these requirements. We were very relieved when the Biden administration took up the mantle left by the Trump administration. So the reason why hospitals aren't complying and are continuing to hide their prices is because they don't want America to know that they're being price gouged and ripped off. I mean, that's the real reason.
And there are now tougher penalties against hospitals if they don't share the cost information. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. So perhaps the main flaw with the regulation that the Trump administration put out was that the penalties weren't stiff enough. They were only $300 a day of noncompliance. For a large hospital, that's, chump change. And so the Biden administration actually increased those penalties to as high as $2 million a year for a large hospital, which frankly, I still don't think is high enough given how rich some of these hospitals are, especially the so-called nonprofit charity hospitals. They can be the biggest scam in town sometimes. But let me give you an example, Gary. At the University of Mississippi, which is complying in part with the price transparency rules, so we can see their prices. Just at that one hospital, depending on what plan you have, or if you have no plan at all, your colonoscopy could cost $1,500 if you have a Cigna plan. It could cost $2,100 if you have Aetna. And if you're a healthcare sharing ministry member and you're not insured, but you work with a ministry to help share your bills, that price would be $800 for you. So it's really important to healthcare sharing ministries to help their members steer to price transparent hospitals that will be more affordable, because we want to make our charitable giving stretch as far as we can. That's really important. It's not just us, it's all Americans want cheaper prices and to get a better deal.
Over a recent 6-year period, healthcare costs doubled and many Americans cannot afford necessary health care. Some are opting for health sharing rather than health insurance to cut their medical costs. So tell us why health sharing is growing in popularity.
Yeah, I mean, you've really hit on it. Premiums have gone up. They've doubled, more than doubled in the past 10 years. Deductibles for employer-sponsored insurance have tripled in that same time. I mean, this is just not sustainable. And people who are, small business owners or people who are 1099 gig economy workers, they can't afford to get on the ACA exchanges and buy a plan that maybe has a huge amount of cost sharing. Sometimes they can, if they don't make as much money, they could get some subsidies from the government, but then they're going to find out that their health plan, maybe the network is too narrow, or maybe that deductible is $10,000. You know what? I want to do healthcare in a more human kind of way. We do education as Christian communities. I know that if you have a baby, that community is going to wrap around you and bring you a casserole every day for the next month, right? We're used to relying on each other. And so in healthcare, it should be no different. And so just like we do homeschool co-ops and we come together in education, we often want to come together as a community and share in each other's healthcare burdens. It's just a more human way of doing it.